Hi, I'm Dave from boyinaband.com and welcome to day 4 of my 7-day studio series where I've been explaining how to put together a beginner studio from scratch with my home slice Kieran here. You ready to learn today, Kieran?
I sure do.
Great stuff. Today we'll be looking at microphones, those fantastically useful devices that turn audio into a manageable signal so you can slap a horrendous amount of auto-tune on them and become a pop sensation. Or if you don't have large breasts and rich parents, just the audio bit. Boobs. Now there are more microphones out there than there are girls who have swooned over Kieran's jawbone in his YouTube videos without mentioning anything about his musical talent, so it's a freaking nightmare to decide which ones to buy. However, I've got some useful tips to help you narrow it down. Now each of these microphones can be categorized into different types of microphones, and while it might be tempting to go straight for the shotgun microphone to look cool in front of all your COD playing friends, I'd advise that you learn 2 types of microphones first. Those 2 are the dynamic and the condenser microphones. So what's the difference between a dynamic and a condenser microphone, Dave, I hear you ask? Well, let's ask Kieran, shall we? What do you think, Kieran?
I don't know.
No marks for you. There are differences in the ways microphones work, but since we're musicians and not microphone engineers, all we really need to know is that dynamic microphones are like arrogant rappers. They like louder, more brash sounds and they're really tough, whereas condenser mics are like skinny jean-clad singer-songwriters, tending to the more delicate and sensitive side of audio.
Now, for some reason I seem to be swinging towards the condenser side of the microphone family.
This one even has a well-defined jawbone like a certain singer-songwriter I know. So with that in mind, can you guess what you record vocals with, Kieran?
A condenser microphone.
Ding ding, correct answer. And how about a loud distorted guitar amp?
A dynamic microphone.
Ding ding, very good. Have the remainder of this stale cookie.
Sweet. I swear I was eating this like 3 days ago.
Kim Jong-il once told me that condenser microphones are kind of like inefficient child labourers. You have to use 48 volts of electricity to make them work. This is where that phantom power thing I mentioned comes in handy. This little button on the sound card allows condenser microphones to work. You might be wondering how much a microphone can really affect a sound. Let's try it on a few different microphones that I own. So plug your sound card into your computer, fire up your DAW, and arm a track for recording. Let's get started. You can hear that they're all very different tones. Let's talk about the different microphones whilst Kieran plays some spontaneous pretty guitar in front of each one.
Sweet.
There'll be no other processing used. The Rode NT1A is the condenser microphone I use. It's really good for the money and it's great for things like vocals and acoustic guitar. The Shure Sm57 is an industry standard microphone, even though it's cheap. Generally used for miking up guitar cabs for distorted tones since they have to be quite loud and that might damage a lesser mic. I'm pretty sure the S stands for Spartan. The Shure SM58 is another industry standard, generally used for live vocals since it's another rugged one, though not so much in the studio. The CO2 was a cheap stereo pair of microphones I got for miking up the cymbals on my drum kit, actually pretty good for the price. The Shure Beta 52A is a commonly used mic for kick drums and bass guitar cabs, basically anything with a decent low end, insert pun here. The SH1T microphone is great for making you eternally disappointed with your music, so if you love the feeling of despair, this one's for you. So depending on what you're going for, you'll need a different type of microphone, and getting a good microphone will set up your studio for years to come. For Kieran's purposes, and for the majority of you I'd imagine, a condenser microphone is the one to look at initially. So ideally, if you can spring for it, aim for the Rode NT1A, which is currently around £159. I've heard good things about the AT2020 as well, if that's a bit much for you. Taking a closer look, we can see it's got the XLR lead input on the bottom, and not much else really. The little dot on the front shows us which end to sing into, and I don't think it gets more complex than that. It doesn't even have an on-off switch you can forget to turn on, which has totally never happened to me with other microphones. It comes in a pack with an XLR lead to connect it to your sound card,
and a pop shield to prevent popping sounds like this happening.
and most importantly, a shock mount, which they'll try to tell you is to prevent extraneous vibrations from affecting your recording, but it's really for showing off to your friends and making you feel like a real producer. Otherwise, try something cheaper like the Samson CO2. It's around £80 for the stereo pair, so let's hear a quick comparison between that and the Rode NT1A again. if you can't hear a difference or have an unhealthy love for the periodic table, it might be worth springing for the CO2. It does come with a microphone clip to stick it to the stand, but you'll have to do without the snazzy shock mount. And get a coat hanger with a pair of tights around it instead of a pop shield, because I'm assuming you're poor. Either way, you'll need a microphone stand to put it on. The cheapest boom stand I saw was £15. You can get tabletop ones for cheaper, but most vocalists I imagine like to stand up when they're singing and aren't 3 feet tall. If you are a 3 foot tall vocalist, please get famous really fast so we can enjoy watching you live. So how are we doing on the budget there, Kieran?
With the £159 Rode NT1A and the £15 mic stand, that brings us to £363, which is my favourite number.
Really? Why?
It's like with the super budget studio, the microphone at £80 and the microphone stand at £15, it brings us to £224.
Plus one annoyed girlfriend when she realises you've cut up her tights.
But please don't tell her.
Relax, girls don't watch these videos, they lose interest in about day 2. So now we have our microphone, software and sound card, and we can finally start recording some music. There's a hell of a lot to learn about microphone placement, so be sure to look at some tutorials on YouTube or something about how to record the instruments you need for your tracks. If you like this video, hit like, then join me tomorrow for day 5 where we'll get digital with some MIDI devices like this and that and even this. Okay, not that. Don't try plugging a MIDI cable into your cat.
They sound like
Condenser microphones are like Demi Moore. You have to use phantom power to turn them on. A good one.
Think about it. Yeah? You like that
You'll
one?
get it.